All right, so I'm gonna cast some Fordite. I have that's actually for someone else. I have a bunch of Fordite here, several, probably 20 pounds of it. So what I like to do, forgive my pin molds, I'm busting out the old stuff, but first I'm of the variety of person that I like to pack the mold as much as I can for most applications. So I'll probably, even in here, I'll probably cut down some pieces or find some little scragglies and fill it up. But first, I test fit everything, make sure it all fits. And, I've got different various pieces in here. And then a lot of it is not prepped. Some of it's sort of prepped, and then it's still the kind of polished finish here. For most cases, you don't want that shiny, glossy finish. I know some people don't care. I'm very much of the school because I make like 70 to 80 beads a week, sometimes over 100. So when I turn hard and fast, take deep hogging cuts. So I don't like to baby this material. Now, if it's like real expensive Fordite, if it's something that's real rare, yeah, I'll take my time a little bit more when I turn it. But normally I'll run my metal lathe at I'll run it at like 1700 and just take 2 or 3 millimeter cuts at least at a time. So I like to make sure the surface is nice and scuffed. So the next step, I'll jump over to the belt sander and get them all scuffed up. I'll meet you guys over there. All right, so obviously what I'm going to do here is, what I like to do is, just so I don't get everything, I used to just dump everything out and then I had to, puzzle piece it all back together. What I like to do is I'll just take one section out, one blank's worth. And you could do this with a palm sander. You could do it by hand if you really wanted to. But I'll just bring it right over here to my little belt sander, a little Harbor Freight special. Don't take much. This thing's loud as a dickens, so I'm not going to try to talk to you while I do it, but I'll give you just a quick idea of what I'm doing here. Well, let me see. Actually, most of this blank has been sanded already. Let me see if I can find one that hasn't. Here's one that hasn't. So, like I said, I'm not going to talk. I'll just kind of show you. Sorry, like I said, that thing is loud, but what I was pointing to there is little glossy areas. And then up here, I've done it long enough now that I kind of know things to look for. Like, I'm going to go back and touch this up. Although that kind of scuffy, sort of pseudo dragon scale texture, that resin will hold to that just fine. But I kind of know what to look for. I want it to delaminate now if it's going to delaminate. So I'll be a little rough with it and just kind of, and I'm using a 40 grit. So I just go to town on it because I would rather it fail now than when I'm turning it. But this one's pretty good. Like I said, I'm going to touch it back up. But that came out of this guy right here. So then the next thing, and then I got like little stuff like this. This is a trick. This is very hard to do. I'll definitely want to use both hands to hold on to that. But little stuff like that, you can see how shiny it is. You definitely do not want to try to cast that. That resin I use Alumilite. I don't know what you guys use. I've also did Royal Palm. And it just doesn't hold to it very good. But I've heard that the Total Boat will do a little better as far as holding Fordite. But with a little prep, I've never had a problem. So, all right, y'all. So now I got everything all sanded. There's a good tooth. Basically, You want good scuff marks, good tooth on everything. Tooth is what they call it. It's like everything's scuffed. I don't want to take certain ones out, but you can see everything is real rough. From my experience, the rougher the better. Something I like to do on some of mine, especially like, see, there you go. There's a D-Land right there. I'm gonna hit that because you can see it's shiny. I don't want that. So I'm gonna sit here and break off everything that'll break off. Now, since I'm standing here, I work a lot with glow, and so I save a lot of my glow shreds. Something I like to do with my material, with my Fordite blanks in particular, or anything I'm casting that's layered, or as chunks of things, pieces of things, like here. If you look in here, sorry, it's dusty. So I got these two pieces on the bottom. Something I like to do is I'll just take a little bit of this. Now, this is kind of my signature thing I developed. I don't know if this is true or scientific or what, but to me, it seems like it helps the resin flow under that piece and helps glue them together, if that makes sense at all. Instead of them just laying flat on top of each other, I get a little bit of air that way. Oh, sure, it's gonna fight me. What in the world? This is the joy of it all right here. Do this number, do that first, and then do this. There we go. And you'll find a lot of people don't pack their Fordite nearly this tight. But like I said, I'm doing this for someone else, and I wanted him to get some bang for his buck as far as his Fordite purchase goes. So I wanted him to have a almost, you know, nearly solid type of Fordite experience here. So just doing the same thing, just kind of, and that way you can see me kind of really pushing. You can really pack it if it's got that little air gap in there. It will kind of help the resin have a place to go in between, like right in here. At least, like I said, that's my experience. Your experience may vary, but that's what seems to work for me. So same thing here, where I have that big old chunk. Take a little bit here. Basically anywhere where pieces are going to marry. So I'll put this big chunk in here. And then I can kind of use these pieces too. Sorry guys, I'm trying to watch what I'm doing and look through the phone. I'm obviously not too experienced at this. But we can push that down that way. I'll just come over here. Like that. And then take the little extra up there. Bingo. And you know, these are glow shreds. I'm gonna fill these with, glow resin. So if anything, this will add like a nice little accent. You really won't see much, to be honest. You will see some. It'll kind of look like confetti, or, you know, some kind of like random sort of stripy, chunky pattern. I don't know how to describe confetti. It's probably the best describer I can think of off the top of my head. I call it glow grass. This guy's just got some little small pieces in there, so I'm just gonna try to wedge enough just to give it some room to breathe. So, but that's this step. I'll come back to you when I'm mixing resin and pouring, and we'll go from there. All right, I got you guys set up a little bit different here. I just did a little simple 3-color this time around. I got some red here, some purple, some black. You can see here, there's my blanks. Pardon my mess. Got stuff everywhere right now. I have some stuff I need to cast for my own stuff, so I'm going to do that momentarily here. I want to make sure this isn't going to settle too much, because the black I have has a lot of, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. No, unfortunately. Has a lot of pearl and sparkle and such in it. So basically all I'm going to do here is try to come up with various color combinations out of these 3. Unfortunately, it's all the resin I have on hand, so. And let me see if I can show you kind of without getting resin all over my phone. So you can kind of see as I pour, hopefully, you've got to kind of wait for it to sink down. I don't want to fill up like that. And that's that air displacing that I was talking about. You can kind of hear it bubble if you're quiet enough. So that's the idea. where you guys can see a little bit. I don't know how much we're going to be able to. So I'm pouring fairly slow, trying to pour down to the bottom of the blank. It's just a riveting process, let me tell you. I think I overshot. I prepped too many blanks, but that's all right. They will hang out in the pressure pot just fine, even if I don't get resin poured over them. Now we did a red and a purple. Let's do a red and purple. So I use a Limonite Clear Slow. It's my preferred resin. It's what I've used since I started. I'm the type of person. I started pouring resin several years ago, probably, oh shoot, 5 or 6 years ago now. And I started pouring because back then I was working with some resin folks, some resin pourers to get my stock and my material. And people told me that it was impossible to make glow black. And I'm that type of person that the word impossible bugs me, so I decided I was going to see what I could do to do the impossible. So you can see I'm just going back and forth with the colors, not doing anything crazy. I can feel from the heat of my resin that it's about to kick, which means I'm about to pass the point of no return. So I'm going to go ahead and pour my black for myself that I need. Just a quick stir. Make sure I have enough of that for my stuff. And then we can come over here, pour a little black for my buddy. Ooh, it's warm out here. I would say it's humid, but I don't want anybody to think it's going to cause a problem with the resin, because where I live in northern Colorado, humid is relative. I guess that's a kind of a joke there, huh? Relative humidity, huh? I suppose that's actually what it means. Sorry, I'm just yammering just to keep you occupied while I do this. And then I'll pull my gloves off and I'll show you the next step. I won't be able to do it because I've got to kind of go quick, but you'll at least see the process. All right, well, for better or worse, that's it. Then I pull off my gloves and I'll show you where these pieces are going. And we'll call that a day. All right, you can see down here, this is my pressure pot. I'm gonna drop that in there. Take the guy right here, just like that. Other guy's gonna go right here on top. Bingo, bango. So the little doodad, boom, and then we'll just put the lid on it. We'll seal it up, pressure, and we just pump the air into it. I usually run it about 60 to 70 is about the max this pot can hold. I've got another pot that for ferrous material I'll run up to 80, between 80 and 90. I meant to go over this earlier, but before you start in your mold, number one, you should probably clean it better. I don't, it's one of those do as I say, not as I do type of deals. I work in swirls and pearls, as you can kind of see there, really shiny stuff. This type of stuff doesn't really bother me, but your molds will last longer if you take better care of them than I do. For mold release, I use this stuff right here. I buy it by the case at my local Woodcraft. And all you got to do is just don't take much. Once you've got them treated, that's about all you need to let it dry. And then you can start your process. Loading them up or pouring in them, whatever you want to do.